Andiamo avanti, invito sul palco David Bonnavaud, founder of Alter Ego Consales, with Pascal Eggen, CEO of Armstrong Technologies. Benvenuti. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. Buongiorno.
Welcome. Buongiorno.
Okay. So, just waiting for the first slide. Thank you very much. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Bonnavaud, and I'd like to introduce Pascal Eggen, Lieutenant Colonel in the Swiss Army and former instructor at the General Staff School. Next slide. So, the question that brings us together this morning is, how can we ensure business growth and prosperity in an uncertain world? Without going into detail, we all understand what we are talking about, as we all witness it every day. For example, the COVID crisis, the war in Ukraine, the tensions between Hamas and Palestine, in Palestine and Israel, and its international repercussions. Or, again, the climate change challenges. And certainly many more examples could be quoted today. That would qualify our world as VUCA world, meaning volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So in this VUCA, in this uncertain world, how can we help organizations, companies to grow and achieve the reassuring prosperity they need to develop? For many years, and still today, many organizations think internally before launching a product or a service. We see brilliant minds at work in R&D department or in prospective department. However, this model of in-house pre-launch is often risky, as the market has often already changed by the time of launch. Some competitors may have come up with an idea that better suit the demands of customers. The inside-out approach has finally and rightly given way to an outside-in approach, which is based on a constant analysis and monitoring of the evolution of our market, made up of competitors and potential customers. When we talk about a company, we need to look at it in a way that is both effective and respectful of people. That's why at Alter Ego we have developed the human-centric growth model. In this model, we first discuss the strategy of any company. So what is the corporate or the company strategy? Well, it's the definition of how the company wants to position itself in its market. How does the company want to be perceived by the outer world? Some company wants to be low-cost, high-tech, humanistic. Today, we commonly speak about a 3 or 4 year strategic plan. Of course, a strategic plan requires several action, mission. We call them mission, and there are, of course, different types of missions. We can have market development, product development, or even enemy missions that are all existing in the goal to position the company in its marketplace. So the strategic plan is broken down into missions which must be constantly monitored using key KPI, key performance indicators, and according to an established schedule in order to pursue, modify, or even stop a mission. And then once the strategy has been defined, it is the structure who will put into practice the strategy. That will be put into practice by the men and the women who make up the company's team. And these men and women are given a strategic plan with intermediate goals. We call them milestones, and of course KPIs, that will enable them to measure during the course of any mission whether everything they set out to achieve is actually happening. In other words, the men and women who will put the strategic plan into practice will be confronted with reality. Sometimes it's going well, other times it's not. And this reality will have to be communicated to the strategy team. In this way, we create kind of a virtuous circle from the strategic plan to the structure, and from the structure, which feeds back information to the strategy team. The aim here is to enable those developing the strategic plan to adapt a mission, stop it, or reinforce it, so that the structure, the people, become increasingly successful on the way to its objectives. We, at Alter Ego Conseil, are well aware that giving a team new mission also means giving them new responsibilities. And finally, when we have a new responsibility to take on, we need to have the skills to do it. This is why, at Alter Ego Conseil, we offer training courses that enable staff to improve their know-how and their interpersonal skills so that they can fulfill their new responsibilities with the utmost efficiency and the greatest degree of enjoyment. As we have just seen it, strategy feeds structure, which in turn informs strategy. So we have a constant flow of information between these two pillars of the company. And that's why we need a solid pillar. And that solid one is the corporate culture. The culture is defined by the values we believe in. It's something that is bigger than ourselves, bigger than the company itself. It's an inspiring goal to live by strong values. For example, at Alter Ego, our values are dedication, original, fearlessness, excellence, leadership, entrepreneurship. This is bigger than us. And these values imply behavioral guidelines. In the name of a value, we have the right to do some things, and we don't have the right to do other things. And it is in the name of these values that any organization can grow. A company's culture defines its inspiring values for the market and its employees. Values are stable over time and represent a stabilizing pillar for the organization. They impose behavioral guidelines that prove that we can live by these values. Slide selling bot. And values should be seen as a company's primary lever for growth and prosperity in an uncertain world. Today's customers are attracted to companies that offer services and/or products in the name of a better world, that enable the world to be a better place. And it is through the communion of value between the customer and the company that the purchase will be made today. Customers want to understand why we offer them a what and a how. So, to ensure growth and prosperity of companies, it's essential to communicate the why we do what we do. Presenting the what and the how is no longer enough. So, in a nutshell, Let's give sense to our offer.
Merci, David. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity to bring our small contribution to this prestigious venue. Once your vision and strategy is established, you know where you aim at. Next slide, please. The question is, how can you define your best route? Looking at the sky, you can see the stars, you know which star you need to follow. But when you look at your horizon, you cannot even see beyond the next wave. So you need to regularly make right decisions to drive your enterprise in a world of uncertainty. Next slide, please. So now, how do you do as a leader, the manager of your team? How do you take assumed responsibility and make the very right decision to choose the best option? I tell you my personal secret. Usually I call my wife. But this is not what we recommend to our customers. What I recommend to our customers is to use a robust, military-based making decision process in order to be more reactive and take right decisions fast. Next slide, please. So basically, it is a cycle of activities which is driven by a core engine. The core engine is a team that fulfills tasks in a certain tempo, and the tempo depends on how fast you want to react. The first activity is monitoring. Monitoring is collecting data, the right data, the necessary data. Napoleon Bonaparte used to say, you should not believe everything that you read over the internet. He was a man ahead of his time. So how to make a better use of data to monitor with accuracy? And this is where you can feel where the cooperation with Colony and predictive artificial intelligence comes into place in each of these activities. Collect better data, structure and analyze better the situation, elaborate options which you can then compare with predictions and choose the very right course of action you want to take. After that, let's say it like this, it's piece of cake. You have to order, execute, monitor again. And so even in the same time you are executing, you can even anticipate the next move to take. So as I said, this is obvious why we have chosen the cooperation with Colony to support our customer choosing their best way to growth and prosperity in a world of uncertainty. In a summary, you bring your customers on board with your vision and your strategy, and because they trust your leadership and your ability to anticipate. At the end of the day, if you want to make great things, it is very helpful to make small things in a great way. Thank you for your attention.